In the fall of 1996, a simple red puppet triggered the most violent shopping season in American retail history. Parents abandoned their dignity, their morals, and in some cases, their jobs, all for a chance to buy a $28.99 plush toy that giggled when you squeezed it. This is the story of Tickle Me Elmo, the toy that didn't just sell out, it made grown adults lose their minds. But before we dive into the chaos, hit that subscribe button. This channel tells the stories history forgot. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. In early 1996, toy manufacturer Tyco Preschool had a problem. They'd licensed the rights to create Sesame Street toys, and they needed a hit. Enter Greg Hyman, a toy inventor who'd been tinkering with animatronic technology. His creation was brilliantly simple, a Elmo doll with a basic motor mechanism. Press his belly once, and he laughs. Press it twice, he laughs harder. Press it 3 times, and he shakes violently while cackling like a maniac. That's it. No AI, no advanced programming, just a red puppet having what appeared to be a seizure while giggling uncontrollably. Tyco knew they had something cute, but nobody, not the designers, not the marketing team, not the Sesame Workshop executives, nobody predicted what was about to happen. The toy launched quietly in July 1996. Initial sales were fine, not spectacular. Elmo sat on shelves alongside dozens of other Christmas toys, just another plush character in a crowded market. Then came October 1st, 1996. Rosie O'Donnell was the Oprah of toy marketing. When she featured a product on her daytime talk show, it didn't just sell, it exploded. She'd already turned several books into instant bestsellers. Now she set her sights on a giggling red puppet. On October 1st, 1996, Rosie brought Tickle Me Elmo onto her show. She squeezed it. The audience erupted. She squeezed it again. The laughter grew louder. By the 3rd squeeze, when Elmo started convulsing with mechanical glee, the crowd was in hysterics. "This is the toy of the season," Rosie declared. "Get it for your kids." Within 72 hours, every Tickle Me Elmo in America was gone. Not just low stock, not just running out. Gone. Completely obliterated from store shelves nationwide. Tyco had manufactured approximately 1 million units for the entire holiday season. They sold through their inventory in less than a week. The company scrambled to ramp up production. But there was a problem. The toys were manufactured in China, and the supply chain couldn't move fast enough. Cargo ships don't speed up just because American parents are losing their minds. And lose their minds, they did. By mid-October, Tickle Me Elmo wasn't just a hot toy. It was the only acceptable Christmas gift. Parents who'd never heard of the thing 2 weeks earlier were now convinced their child's entire Christmas depended on getting one. The media fanned the flames. Every local news station ran segments about the shortage. The New York Times wrote think pieces. Even the Wall Street Journal covered it like a financial crisis, which, in a way, it was. Stores that received shipments didn't announce them ahead of time. They'd learned their lesson from past toy crazes. Instead, employees would wheel out boxes of Elmos, and within seconds, a mob would descend. And I don't mean a crowd gathered, I mean full-blown mob behavior. Pushing, shoving, grabbing, parents treating a toy store like a combat zone. In November 1996, a Walmart in Fredericton, New Brunswick received a shipment of 300 Elmos. They were trampled, punched, and verbally assaulted by a crowd of over 300 customers. Store manager employees described it as terrifying. A sales clerk in a Chicago store suffered broken ribs when she was crushed against a shelf during an Elmo stampede. 2 women in New York got into a physical altercation that ended with one being hospitalized. The toy was ripped in half during the struggle. This wasn't Black Friday chaos, this was October, November, early December. Sustained, relentless madness for 3 solid months. When legitimate retail failed, parents turned to the black market. And oh boy, did that market boom. The original retail price for Tickle Me Elmo was $28.99. By mid-November, scalpers were selling them for $200, $300, $500. Desperate parents paid it without hesitation. The prices kept climbing. By early December, Elmos were selling for $1,000, $1,500, even $2,000. A radio station in Minneapolis reportedly paid $7,100 for one to give away on air. Newspapers ran classified ads. Have Elmo, we'll trade for car. These weren't jokes. People legitimately tried bartering vehicles for a plush toy. Visual, interview clips, news footage. One woman in Florida quit her job to become a full-time Tickle Me Elmo hunter. She'd call stores obsessively, drive hours to different locations, and resell them for profit. She made more money in 2 months than she'd made in 6 months at her regular job. Postal workers were caught intercepting packages containing Elmos and stealing them. Delivery drivers held shipments hostage, offering to sell them directly to customers for markup prices. One man in Pennsylvania was arrested for running a counterfeit Elmo operation out of his garage. The fake Elmos didn't even work properly. They just made vaguely mechanical noises and occasionally sparked. The FBI got involved investigating organized scalping rings that were buying up inventory using stolen credit cards. This wasn't just capitalism run amok. This was societal breakdown over a children's toy. So what made Tickle Me Elmo different from every other toy fad? Why did this toy trigger such extreme behavior? First, perfect storm timing. The toy launched just as the holiday shopping season began, leaving no time for supply to catch up with demand. Scarcity wasn't artificial, it was brutally real. Second, Elmo himself. By 1996, Elmo had become Sesame Street's breakout star. Kevin Clash's performance had transformed the character into the most beloved figure in children's entertainment. Kids didn't just want Elmo, they loved Elmo with the intensity only a toddler can muster. Third, parental guilt. The 1990s saw the rise of dual-income households and increased work hours. Parents felt they had less time with their kids, and toys became emotional proxies. Getting your child the right gift wasn't just generous, it was proof you were a good parent. Fourth, media amplification. Every news story about the shortage made more parents panic. FOMO, fear of missing out, spread like a virus. If you didn't have Elmo, you were failing Christmas. And fifth, the toy itself was genuinely delightful. That idiotic giggling mechanism triggered something primal in human psychology. It made adults laugh. It made kids scream with joy. It was infectious, addictive, impossible to resist. Combined, these factors created the perfect psychological trap. Scarcity plus emotional attachment plus social pressure plus media hysteria equals madness. Christmas Day, Teniwensi 1996 arrived, and countless children across America opened presents without a Tickle Me Elmo inside. Some parents had paid obscene amounts to scalpers. Others gave IOUs, literal pieces of paper promising an Elmo would arrive later. Some wrapped up regular Elmo dolls and hoped their kids wouldn't notice the difference. Many children cried. Some parents cried too. Not from their kids' disappointment, but from embarrassment at how much time, money, and dignity they'd sacrificed chasing a toy. By February 1997, Tyco had finally caught up with demand. Stores were fully stocked, the frenzy was over, and nobody cared anymore. The secondary market collapsed instantly. Those $1,500 Elmos were now worth retail price, if you could even sell them at all. Scalpers who'd hoarded inventory lost thousands of dollars. The toy continued selling well through 1997, but the mania was gone. Kids still loved Tickle Me Elmo, but parents had regained their sanity. Tickle Me Elmo established a template that toy manufacturers have followed ever since. Create buzz, limit supply, let scarcity drive demand, watch parents lose their minds. We saw it again with Furbies in 1998, with Hatchimals in 2016, with PlayStation 5s in 2020. Each time, companies claimed they couldn't have predicted the demand. Each time, parents swore they'd never fall for it again. And each time, they did. Today, original 1996 Tickle Me Elmos are collector's items, though they're worth maybe $50 to $100, not the thousands people paid during the frenzy. Most sit in storage bins, forgotten relics of a moment when America collectively lost its mind. But for those who lived through it, the parents who fought in stores, the kids who watched adults behave like animals, the retail workers who got trampled, Tickle Me Elmo represents something darker than nostalgia. It was proof that beneath our civilized surface, we're all just one viral moment away from chaos. So the next time you see a toy fad exploding on social media, remember Tickle Me Elmo. Remember the fights, the arrests, the broken ribs, and stolen shipments. And maybe, just maybe, consider whether a giggling puppet is really worth your dignity. If you enjoyed this descent into toy madness, subscribe for more forgotten history. And hit that like button, it helps more than you'd think. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go squeeze an Elmo for research purposes only.